All right, guys, sent this over. You said, Craig, you got to see this. So guess what? We're going to see it. It's called PlayStation's Physical Media Free Future. Isn't just concerning, it's offensive. This is from IGN. This has over 500,000 views on it, which obviously has resonated with a lot of folks. Let's check it out and see what's going on with this, because obviously when it comes to, when it comes to physical media and PlayStation in general, this is not a good sign of where the industry is headed.
PlayStation has suddenly told its audience to brace themselves for an entirely physical media-free future. The news comes just days after the company unapologetically informed users it was about to permanently delete more than 550 Studio Canal distributed movies from the PlayStation Network and literally remove them from the accounts of any customer who previously purchased them. It's honestly one of the most baffling corporate failures to read the room since Microsoft handed Don Matrick a microphone and allowed him to discuss how the Xbox One probably wasn't gonna suit someone serving on a nuclear submarine.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called
PlayStation 5.
So stick with
PS5.
that's your message if you don't, like it.
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
That is PlayStation.
Quick side note right here from my past, little down here, little game trailers. This is originally a game trailers video on the game trailers website, which I think IGN now owns the game trailers YouTube, whatever. That is very niche. If you know what I'm talking about, if you watch game trailers, let me know in the comments. Appreciate that. Sorry, just a little deep cut right there.
That is an offline device.
That is, PlayStation is following up a brazenly anti-consumer rug pull of digital content with fresh confirmation that all PlayStation content from 2028 onwards will be exclusively digital. The timing would be hilarious if it wasn't so appallingly offensive. However, the facts are in, and the standard has been set. You cannot trust digital purchases, and you cannot trust the corporations that offer them.
Just real quick, I want you to think about that. The idea where these people owned the movies, and then the licensing expired, and then guess what? Sorry, gone. No refund, no nothing, just out the door. You're out of your money because our licensing agreement ended. That is why physical is so important. We all have giant Steam accounts with hundreds of games in it, most likely. We bought the Steam sales where you get a dozen games for whatever. We've all done it. Everybody's done it. It's nice. It's convenient to be able to load up a game. But man, we're all on razor's edge right here because that stuff can go away like that, which is exactly, I think, the big fear when it comes to what's happening with PlayStation and really just all media moving ahead.
While I maintain a library of physical games I love and I regularly browse charity stores and my local CEX for hard copies of things I know I'll enjoy having stashed on a shelf, allow me to qualify that I have indeed purchased and downloaded many digital games over the decades via console and PC storefronts, provided they always remain available to re-download even if delisted from sale. It's a compromise I've been willing to concede for now. Credit where credit's due, it's been a pretty workable arrangement to date. For instance, when the disc tray on my Xbox 360 turned to dust during the production of a recent racing game retrospective I put together to celebrate IGN's 30th anniversary, I found myself pulling down 20-year-old, long delisted DLC on a replacement console without much fuss. Of course, as much as I appreciate this functionality, I'm not gonna celebrate it. The ability to simply re-download content we've purchased in the past should be a bare minimum service. I'm not asking for content to be hand-delivered to me, I'm asking for a server to be left switched on.
You know, that's kind of one of the things that we keep hearing about with Stop Killing Games. I want to go back real quick. How many of y'all have had a disc tray specifically on the Xbox 360 jacked up and not work at some point? Because I know I have, and we used rubber bands and all sorts of different things to eventually get it to work and kind of jimmy rig to make it happen. It's funny, I mean, it lasted like 20 years, dude. You did pretty damn good with that Xbox 360, just saying. And it's honestly more surprised that you didn't get red ringed there with that 360. You just had a server disk issue.
Non-profits like the Internet Archive can do it. I'm sure commercial video game juggernauts can manage likewise. On the flip side, I've never, ever purchased a movie digitally. My household still subscribes to several streaming services, and I'm content enough with their convenience for the time being, but my movie collection is otherwise strictly physical. Prior to entering the media industry, I worked at Blockbuster Video, all the way through the transition from VHS to DVD, which is where my collection started. I'm hesitant to put a figure on its current size on the off chance my wife watches this, but I will admit I'm deeply nostalgic about video stores, like proper deeply. If I can't visit them anymore, building one around me was the next best thing. Now I can work at IGN while still ensconced in a video store. At any rate, I've never had
Whoa. So this guy launched a video store around him, or does he just have a video store around him? Because I'm curious, because I was actually pitched a business proposal recently about having a physical store. And you guys got to remember, I've actually owned a video game store before in the past. Back, it was called Game Attack, and it was in North Texas, and it was brutal. That business is absolutely brutal. And we sold mostly retro stuff. We did buy new games and such, but that was video games. He's talking about movies. I'm with him. I only have physical movies. I don't own a digital movie at all. And if I do, I didn't make that purchase. My wife did. So let me know if you think a digital, or I'm sorry, if you think a video store or a video game store, a video or video game store, or both, like a Blockbuster or a mom and pop GameStop, could work in today's day. It's so niche, and there's so much value in having that physical stuff, but I just don't know if it's the broad appeal that people may think it is.
Starting a digital library of movies beholden to any one vendor. I've just never trusted the concept. Frankly, the Studio Canal debacle on PlayStation Network is all the reason I need to ensure I never will. Sony discontinued the ability to make movie and TV purchases and rentals on the PlayStation Store back in August 2021. However, users were still able to watch the content they purchased beyond that cutoff. However, it appears those purchases were on a ticking clock. Whatever agreement Sony and Studio Canal had for that content to remain hosted on PSN for people who bought it has either lapsed or completely imploded. We can't know because neither company has explained or apologized for it. IGN has sought comment. At this time, it hasn't been forthcoming. For the corporate bootlickers in the back, we've read the legalese. You don't need to parrot it back. We're all aware of the insidious terms and conditions that companies apply to transactions for digital media in order to be able to snatch it away without consequence. We're aware of the fact that, despite companies being clearly permitted to use words like buy and purchase, we're only ever really leasing a license to access content. A license companies can revoke at their discretion. The fact remains is this: if someone entered my home and scooped up my copies of Terminator 2, This Is Spinal Tap, Total Recall, Cliffhanger, Highlander, Leon, First Blood, and whatever else they saw fit to steal, that's theft.
You know, it's funny because this is the metaphor that a lot of people use. As a matter of fact, I actually have, for the first time, a video essay. I haven't done a video like this in a long time, but I've been working on it the last really 2 weeks to get this thing done, working with an editor to do it, which should be coming out probably this weekend, about physical versus digital. I think I used almost that exact same analogy in that video that you guys will see very, very soon. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't, and so you can catch that one.
Happens with a line of code being rewritten or deleted doesn't make it less so. So what exactly does an exclusively digital future really look like? It looks like shit.
Yep.
I've already had an appetizer
Yep.
of it. In 2024, Ubisoft announced The Crew, a full-price, premium game with multiple pieces of paid DLC in the form of car packs and major expansions, was to be nuked from existence and removed from the libraries of customers who bought it. Ubisoft was hit with a lawsuit over it, which it responded to by insisting that buying a game only gives players a limited license to access the game. The explanation went down like a lead balloon. It's an imperfect example, since not even owning The Crew on disc helps in this particular instance.
And once again, this has led to Stop Killing Games, the initiative there, which has received a lot of pushback from the industry because they don't want the hassle of having to support games, which we all understand. If you've been following that at all, that's actually not what Stop Killing Games is asking. It's actually just asking to have the fans have the ability to continue with supporting their games and be able to play the games, which is such a basic, rudimentary, basic bitch ask that it's amazing that companies are like, no, you can't do that.
Despite having full support for single-player progress, it's an online-only game and the discs are now worthless. It was, nonetheless, an effective glimpse at a future where games can be yanked away, leaving consumers conned out of their cash. Consumers gain nothing of worth from an all-digital future. What do we lose? Let's dig. We're now staring down the barrel of a future where the PS6 doesn't come with a disk drive. Separate reports are indicating that Xbox may also be moving away from physical media, and that the next generation Project Helix device will also not feature a disk drive. It's a philosophy that will likely sideline anyone with a curated collection of physical games, or even a hybrid library that's part disk, part digital. So it's a rake in the face for backwards compatibility, and an entirely unappealing future for vintage gamers, the support of whom laid the bedrock for the business today.
Quick side note on that, when it comes to physical versus digital games, I have a hard drive for my 360 that has games that are exclusive to the 360 that I downloaded. Digital games. I think of like Shadow Complex that were really big Xbox Live arcade titles. I don't think I can play that on Steam. I don't think I can play it. Either way, even if I could play it on Steam, I've already bought it, right? But I have not plugged in my Xbox 360 in a decade to go and play it. It's the inconvenience. So I wish there was some sort of solution, specifically with Xbox, PlayStation, and even Nintendo, where, and this will never happen, by the way, where when you download something on a service, whether it's Xbox 360, Marketplace now, Xbox One, or PlayStation 3 Marketplace, whatever, it then ultimately makes its way over to your new consoles with true backwards compatibility. Once again, never going to happen. I understand that. You understand that. But man, sure would be nice.
Impact does an all-digital future have on certain genres of games? An uncertain one, at best. No one is denying the seismic shift in consumer preference, or how digital game sales do indeed eclipse physical sales, broadly speaking. However, as noted in a 2025 analysis from the game business, there are certain genres of games that still sell well on disc. At least across the UK, single-player story-driven games and family games have regularly seen much stronger physical sales than typical. That is, almost half of Hogwarts Legacy, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Resident Evil 4 Remake sales were physical. In the case of Spider-Man 2 and Astrobot, the figure was reportedly over half. How long will publishers continue to invest in the sorts of single-player games many people still crave if it becomes apparent the audience isn't fully migrating? What does it mean for game preservation? Nothing good. Archivists, historians, and museums have been fighting a frustrating battle with the games industry for years, and removing physical games from PlayStation's future is not going to help in the slightest.
You know what executives hear when they say there's more physical games sold than digital games? They say, how much money did we lose? How much money did we lose when we didn't sell that person a digital copy, which cost us a fraction of what it cost to manufacture that physical game? That's the way they're thinking. I promise you that, which makes the push to digital that much quicker.
Certainly not when trade groups like the US Entertainment Software Association are so demonstrably against the concept of game preservation that it actively maintains the process of restoring old games is illegal hacking, and lobbies against academic institutions being permitted to take measures to preserve old games and keep them playable for future generations. What does it mean for games with limited lifespans due to licensed characters, cars, or music? It means no discovery after the fact. Right now, a kid entering the gaming community today can use second-hand marketplaces to wind back the clock and experience games that are no longer available digitally. Weren't born when the first Forza Horizon game came out, but adore Forza Horizon 6? Well, you can't download most of them anymore, but there are still discs out there in the wild for you to collect and keep. The same.
Let me take this one step further. And I know I'm stopping and starting. And you guys, if you guys watch my videos over here, you guys understand this is how I do things. Lots of things going on in my noggin. Let's take this a step further. You ever played Fortnite? You ever played Apex Legends? You're never going to play those past seasons again. They're gone. You'll never see them again. Some of those characters that were in there, or different pieces of maps, they're just gone. You can't like rewind and go, well, I want to play season 3 of Apex Legends. Well, it's on like season 8 million right now. Or you want to go back and play when Fortnite's first, vanilla Fortnite or whatever, or whatever. With all these seasons in games, you no longer have the ability to go back and play previous seasons. And if you do, I mean, it's for a very special event, and if there's a novelty to it. It's almost like games within the games have been canceled with all this, with these updates. And if you're a child today who growing up with, pick whatever game you want, Fortnite or whatever, like I mentioned, you're going to have nostalgia for something, but you're never going to have a chance to go back and play it. Whereas like I have nostalgia for Super Metroid. I can go back and play it anytime I want. They will not be able to do it. They'll just need to go back on YouTube and see someone's gameplay. Then, well, I remember this season 4 of whatever and this event. It was just a blip in their brain. That's messed up.
Goes for all kinds of delisted gems, from Driver San Francisco to Drive Club or old Bond and Spider-Man games. How does this work a decade into an all-digital future? It doesn't. What does it mean if you gravitate towards older, used games? An entirely understandable approach considering cost of living spikes. You can't. What does it mean if you want to gift a game to someone and watch them install and play it immediately after unwrapping it? You can't. And what does it mean for people who want to share games with their friends and family? Well, it's simple. They can't. And here we were, labouring under the impression PlayStation completely understood that one-step process. Whatever gave us that idea?
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
A few moments later.
This is how you share your games on PS6. You don't. Thanks.
PlayStation.
Let's reiterate, PlayStation has announced the discontinuation of physical media immediately after telling its customers it was going to delete 550 movies from the accounts of people that paid for them. It's either baffling naivety or colossal arrogance. Neither one of those are strong characteristics. I just don't know which it is. I'll tell you what I do know though. I know that I'm not excited about a prohibitively expensive game console that won't play my old physical games, upon which anything I purchase could be removed without a speck of a refund or a hint of regret. It sure ain't much of a sales pitch. If you want to debate the future of PlayStation a little more, why not check out...
All right, there's a little channel called IGN. You guys can go check it out. Put a link to it down in the description, just because, you know, it's good to do that. Lots to digest there, and I know I've thrown a lot at you guys in a short amount of time. This is going to be very bad. And honestly, I feel like when it comes to replacing physical with digital, this is going to sound really harsh. There's going to be a section of the audience who's just going to stop playing video games. I am convinced of that. And it may be a small portion of the audience, maybe 5%, maybe 2%, but it's still, there's going to be a portion of the audience just like, I'm out. It's, you know, the idea of it being easier is great. I want to have something physical. Let me know in the comments if that is going to be you. If the idea of going an all digital future just totally removes the idea of playing games with you. And once again, I understand that we've almost been conditioned when it comes to digital games with Steam. Everybody has those giant collections on Steam. Everybody's downloaded games, but it's always with the option specifically on consoles to be able to buy the physical copy if you like to. Not anymore. I hope, and I know that Nintendo has their little key cards, which just really gross. I hope that we reach a day where at least one of these consoles, one of these companies thinks physically, and they are rewarded greatly for it just by offering the physical option. And I think that's going to be Nintendo, because that at its core, Nintendo fancies itself as a toy company and not a video game company. But I don't know. And maybe that's just a little nostalgia and hopeful thinking. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Obviously, if you're new, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and go watch another video right here because YouTube says you should watch it.